Birshut Rabbanim, with the permission of the rabbis, I'd like to start by saying a blessing. It's the first time I am going to be translated with the sign language, and it's something that I feel proud and appreciate. So, Baruch Ata Adonai Eloheinu Melech Haolam Shehecheyanu V'Kiyemanu V'Higianu Lazman Hazeh. When you enjoy something for the first time, you need to thank God for achieving and reaching that moment, and I am happy that I am being heard today in a different language as well. A couple of months ago, I discovered that I am paying for something I wasn't using. So, don't get me wrong, part of my family was using it, but not me. Does anyone would like to guess what is that essential thing I am referring to? Netflix. Who said that? Thank you, Sharon. I have been paying it for at least 5 years, and I have not used it until the last 6 months ago. So I had to catch up. So during the summer, I watched all the must-see series: Breaking Bad, Orange is the New Black, The Office, Stranger Things, House of Cards, The Americans, Stiesel, Black Mirror, Narcos, Glow, The Crown, Fauda, 13 Reasons Why, and the list goes on. Well, the truth is that I had copied and pasted that list from Rabbi Google. So I am very bad at movies, I must confess. I always say that the last movie I watched at the theater was E.T. So, well, guys, you all the way in the back, you can ask your grandparents what about E.T. if you want. But there are movies that I did watch. And my favorite of all, I may say, probably my favorite of all is The Pursuit of Happiness with Will Smith and his son. Did you watch that movie? Raise your hand if you did. Okay, good. So I can continue with my sermon. That's great. It's based on a true story. The Pursuit of Happiness tells the story of a single father, Chris Gardner. Evicted from their apartment, he and his young son find themselves alone with no place to go. Even though Chris eventually lands a job as an intern in a prestigious brokerage firm, the position pays no money. The pair must live in shelters and endure many hardships, many hardships. But Chris refuses to give in to despair as he struggles to create a better life for himself and his son. If you didn't watch it, after Shabbat is over, try it. The last words of the main actor in the movie are, "This part of my life, this little part of my life is called happiness." I think The Pursuit of Happiness made a huge impact on me. And as I mentioned, it's probably the movie that made the biggest impact in my life. Happiness is a word that it is easy to translate to Hebrew. We say Osher with Aleph. And usually when we wish each other in Rosh Hashanah, we say Shnat Osher ve'Osher, richness and happiness. But there is also a word in Hebrew that is close to happiness that is very difficult to translate to English. That word is Simcha, or if you prefer it in English, Simcha. In fact, we use that word in English. The Simons are celebrating their Simcha today. It's a special word. And I learned from Rabbi Jonathan Sachs that the root for the word Simcha, Sin Memchet, appears only once in each of the other books of the Torah, but Deuteronomy. In Genesis, in Exodus, in Leviticus, and in Numbers, only one time. But in Deuteronomy, it appears 12 times. And in our Parsha, from those 12 times, 7 times. So Simcha is usually translated as joy, rejoicing, gladness, happiness, pleasure, or delight. The reality is it's very difficult to translate into English. Joy, happiness, pleasure, and the like are all state of mind, emotions. They belong to the individual. We can feel them alone. Simcha, by contrast, is not a private emotion. It means happiness shared. It means that you are not alone. It is a social state, a predicate of we, not I. There is not such a thing as feeling simcha alone. There is a story, a beautiful story of Rabbi Menachem Mendel Schneerson of blessed memory, the Rabbi of Lubavitch, that I also learned from Rabbi Sachs, and I wanted to share it with you. A man had written a letter to the Rebbe in roughly these terms: I am depressed. I am lonely. I feel that life is meaningless. I try to pray, but the words do not come. I keep mitzvot, but find no peace of mind. I need the Rebbe's help. That's the end of the letter. The Rebbe sent a brilliant reply without using a single word. He simply circled the first word of every sentence and sent the letter back. The word in each case was I. Happiness, in Greek eudaimonia, Aristotle said, is the ultimate purpose of human existence. We desire many things, but usually as means to something else. Only one thing is always desirable in itself and never for the sake of something else, namely happiness. But simcha is different. Simcha is not the same that happiness. Simcha is a simcha. In Deuteronomy we read, for the first years of marriage, a husband must stay at home and bring joy to the wife he has married. Vesamach et ishto. When we bring the first fruit to the temples, we read, you and the Levite and the stranger living among you shall rejoice in all the good things that the Lord your God has given to you and your household. Besamachta vechol hatov. In one of the most extraordinary lines in the Torah, Moses says that curses will come to the nation not because they worship idols or abandon God, but because you did not serve the Lord your God with joy and gladness out of the things of all things. Lo avadta et Hashem Elohecha vesimcha. A failure to rejoice is the first sign of decay and falling off. There are other differences. Happiness is about a lifetime, but joy lives in the moment. Happiness tends to be a cool emotion, but joy makes you want to dance and sing. We're singing, yes? We're dancing, yes? We say of simches in Yiddish, or rak bismachot, only in happiness in Hebrew, that we may meet only in a simcha we wish each other when we want to give a good wish, usually after a sad event. Of simches, rak bismachot. What a great wish that the next time we see each other, we would like to feel a desire to dance together. So today we read this verse. I want you to pay attention. It reads like this: and rejoice before the Lord your God at the place he will choose as a dwelling for his name. You and your sons and daughters, your male and female servants, the Levites in your towns, and the foreigners, the fatherless and the widows living among you. Simcha is to be shared. Simcha means you are not alone. Mindfulness tells us to be present, to be in the moment. Simcha is in the moment. Happiness is an aspiration. King David says, Ivdu et Hashem besimcha. There's a beautiful song. Ivdu. Sorry, Hazan. Worship God with happiness. So, dear friends, I came this morning to tell you that simcha happens when you discover you have a Netflix account. Well, really, I came this morning to tell you that the biggest secret of our tradition is the following. Simcha happens when you know you're not alone and you can share with others. Shabbat Shalom, umeborach. and may we always see each other of simches, rak v'smachot.